Oh, what's up you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre. Welcome back to the channel and this Marvel Avengers video. And today we're going to be breaking down the gear system. In Marvel Avengers, you level up your heroes and unlock new abilities in their skill trees, but that's not all. You also increase their power levels by collecting better gear throughout the course of the game. And we're going to be telling you how that gear works, and then a couple mistakes that you want to make sure to avoid in the mid and late games. Now you're going to be finding gear all over the place. You'll find it in chests on the ground. Enemies will drop gear. You'll even get special gear as mission rewards. And there's so much gear that if you have too much, it in fact gets sent to an inventory locker with a 300 item storage capacity. So there's no shortage of gear to be found in this game. But how exactly does it work? Well, if you go to your gear loadout and look at one of your gear items, you'll see a huge amount of information here, and it can be a little overwhelming at first, so we're just going to break down one thing at a time. In the very top of the gear, you'll see its title, which tells a lot about it. You also see its power level, and then what hero statistics it affects. Now, the hero statistics are what exactly your hero is good at. Might is your melee damage, precision range damage, proficiency, your different critical and perk chances, valor, your heroic effectiveness, resolve is your total health, resilience is your armor, and intensity affects how much stun and status damage you do, as well as your resistance to having status done to you. And so what actual hero stats you have on your gear greatly affects what your character is going to be good at in the game. If you have a really high melee rating, you're just going to be really good at beating up and getting really up close and personal. But if you have a really high ranged rating, you're going to want to stand back from a fight and throw those ranged attacks at your enemy. So you want to pick your gear in that way. Now, the next thing you might see on your gear description are the gear perks, and these are tied to the gear that it is. Melee gear has perks that are tied to your melee attacks, ranged gear has perks that are tied to your melee attacks, so on and so forth. And how effective these are is combined with your proficiency as well as the star rating. Higher star items have a better percentage of the perk being effective. And for example, this one that I have on with the adept buff and the pim particle payload on my missiles. My missiles have particle damage attached to them, and I also have a 60% chance of getting a damage buff when hitting an enemy with a ranged critical. And so I find myself using the missiles a lot, not only because they deal a great amount of damage, they use their pin particles, but also because I'll be getting a damage buff that's effective on other enemies. The next gear you really want to look out for are hero specific gear, like these Iron Man specific pieces that have perks specifically attached to him, like this Breaker Buster perk, which increases all damage while wearing my Hulkbuster armor by 20%. And so you can find some really awesome combinations to fine-tune your hero to play exactly how you want to play them. You might have to farm a little bit to get the gear that you want, but it is possible to fine-tune them exactly how you want them to be. Besides your 4 main pieces of gear, you also have your artifacts. You can hold 2 minor and 1 major. The minor artifacts offer huge number bonuses to your hero statistics as well as awesome gear perks, so don't sleep on having a quality minor artifact. And the major artifacts are special items you only get by completing certain mission chains in the campaign, and they're the only way to get your character up to power 150. Once you're in the end game, the gear that drops only drops at maximum level 130, and then you can level up that gear to maximum 140, so the last 10 levels you get of power come directly from that major artifact. Now, what you do with all this epic loot is going to be different at each stage of the game. In the early stages of a character's power, you just want to be going for the highest power level items you can find. That's because the loot that gets dropped is tied directly to your own power level. So you can get up to level 50 and have a filled out skill tree by playing in the harm room, but still have a really low power level because you haven't collected any higher power gear. So make sure you focus on getting the highest power level you can as quick as you can. Now, once you get towards about 100 or so, you're going to actually want to start to find the perks and stuff that you want, because the increase in power level dropped starts to slow down at this point. You're not going to be getting very much more power. It's going to be slowing down. And by the time you get to the end game power level of 130 to 150, you're just going to be collecting a whole bunch of gear that you don't actually want or need, that you're just going to be mass dismantling. And this is where you can start to get really picky and choosy about what you want to keep, and especially what you want to upgrade. At this point in the game, when you're getting to the highest power levels, you want to avoid upgrading anything that requires upgrade modules unless you know exactly that it's something you want to keep. Upgrade modules are the second rarest resource in the game. One of the hardest things to come by, and you don't want to waste it upgrading an item that isn't actually going to get you to the max power level of 140 on the gear, or doesn't have the perks that you actually want attached to it. So this is the point where you actually have to start farming for gear and then getting the good stuff that you actually want. This is not a gear farming guide, that'll be a separate video, but this is the point of the game where you're gonna be having so much stuff, and it's up to the luck of the draw to get something that you actually want. If you want to know more about gear farming, leave a comment down in the comment section below. That'll let me know that you guys want it. Drop a like on this video if you guys will learn something from watching this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the gear system in Marvel Avengers. I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just meaty yogurt, and I'm out.